So one of the things I most hate about the cold is the way it makes my RA flare up. And everything from my fingers to my toes and my metatarsals are swollen from it being cold. And that's the downside. And none of us like being in pain. But pain is, the body is under a prime directive, to borrow a term from Star Trek, to always be able to perceive pain. That means it needs to have free pain receptors at all times. And in our country, we use opioids. Other countries do too, but we learned that opioids can block pain 100%. So you're feeling no pain. And the problem with that is, what we learned over the years is, so you block pain at 100%, and the body has to make more pain receptors because it has to be able to perceive pain. And then the dose gets increased, and then the body makes more pain receptors. And you go through this 6 or 7 times, and you wind up with a physiological addict. And that's the problem, and that's the clamp down on the opioids now. They're very useful right after surgery because the pain creates a stress reaction in the body, and that releases a burst of cortisol, and that can slow your healing. So they're very good for 2 or 3 days right after major surgery. But to use them for prolonged pain, they're never going to work as a remedy because you're always going to wind up in that place as a physiological addict. So what can be done differently is that we can use, and I'm allergic to opioids, so I've had to discover this. I had no choice. I've had to have 4 different orthopedic surgeries, 3 on my knees, 1 on my shoulder. I've torn my ACL twice and medial meniscus, and so I had to go through that whole recovery. And I've got cadaver parts in me now. So anyway, so I had post-op to come up with a plan. Now, they can give me opioids during surgery with a spinal block because your spine and brain do not have a lymphatic system. So there was no way to create an allergic reaction. But after you get out of the OR, you can't walk around with, a spinal block. So I had to come up with a way, and circulating icy cold water. Most orthopedic surgeries used to, at least, get sent home with cryo cuffs. And it was this gravity system where you'd fill it up with ice and water, and you'd put it up high, and it'd fill up with icy cold water. And then when it warmed up, you'd let it drain low, shake it, put it up, you get ice cold water again, and then when all the ice was gone, you just refill it because you can leave icy cold water on 24/7. And ice, you cannot. We grew up learning that, 20 minutes, you had to take a break, and that was because ice alone can burn the skin. So with icy cold water, here's the advantage of it. Not only does it numb down the pain receptors, and why does it do that? Well, cold temperatures travel on pain receptors, not thermoreceptors. So they numb down the pain receptors because it's feeling the pain of the cold. And it's like, whoa, we can regulate this down. We don't need to feel that intense pain. So we'll decrease the number of pain receptors. This is good. And the second thing that ice cold water does is it keeps inflammation at bay. So what stuns my doctors is how rapidly I heal. And I am at the first 5-day post-op thing, I am already swelling's down. I am mobile. I can't bear weight, but because of the cadaver parts or whatever. And so I follow all the PT and all of that, but I make great progress and I heal quickly. And it stuns the doctors every time. And it's really simple. It's because the pain pills don't do anything for inflammation, but icy cold water does. So it's double. It stops the pain, and it also stops the inflammation, so healing can begin. Inflammation is a mechanism in the body to wall off an area, to trap any kind of invader or anything that's causing the pain so that it doesn't affect the rest of the body. And so that walling off is protective, but it also slows the healing because the healing components of blood can't get there either. So by stopping the inflammation, I speed the healing. And that's the beauty of it. Why isn't this more widespread? I think it's not because you can't charge for it. And I think it's not because you can't, do surgery. I learned about this after I had broken a coccyx that healed back wrong. And it hurt. It hurt a lot. And because normally you do nothing, you just let a broken coccyx heal, but mine healed back crooked. And so those muscles were messed up. So anyway, I went to neurosurgeons at Yale, at UConn, and at Mayo Clinic in Florida. And all wanted to cut it out. And the studies on that said, no. Said only 17% get better, 33% get worse, and the rest stay the same. So I was like, I don't think that's the route I want to go with those odds. So I did learn at Mayo Clinic about a pain center in Miami, and it's called the Rosemont Pain Clinic. And I went down there, and you're in clinic from 8 in the morning till 4 or 5 in the afternoon. You start the day with like Tai Chi, gentle movements, and they will work on helping you get your body back into normal mechanics. So they reminded me of another important skill, and that is that pain is inhibitory to muscles. And so the muscles that are being inhibited will atrophy if you're using compensatory muscles and you keep working those. So you have to go back and work at the level of those that were offline. And you have to start rehabbing at that level in order to get the normal physics back together on the body. And they had a way of helping me cool the coccyx off, and so they used ice fingers, and that wound up calming it down enough that it eventually went back into place. And we used biofeedback to make sure I was using the right muscles, the ones that normally should be working, not the compensatory ones. And slowly, over 3 weeks, it was amazing. I went from not being able to sit to being able to sit. It was just astounding to me. So that's my secret. So they have a machine called Game Ready, and that delivers icy cold water plus pressure. And some insurances will pay for that post-op. Most orthopedic surgeries will give you a cryo cuff to use, and you lift it up and the icy cold water runs in. And when it warms up, you lower it and the water drains out of the cuff, and then you mix it up and you lift it again and you get icy cold water, and when the ice runs out you just keep replenishing it. And I use it 24/7 and it works. I don't need pain meds. I reduce the pain, I heal faster. And so why isn't it more widely talked about? Because they can't charge for it. They can charge you for the cryo cuff, they can charge you for the machine, but it reduces the number of surgeries, it reduces the number of, it sort of undoes the industry. So it's not the most widely used thing. It was discovered by Dr. Rosemont, who got tired he was a spine surgeon. He did low back surgeries, and he got tired of seeing the same patients come back again and again, not getting relief. So he started a preoperative physical therapy routine. 80% canceled their surgeries. He worked on core mechanisms. So he started this center where you do physical therapy, occupational therapy, biofeedback, massage, acupuncture, icy cold water. You use all of these tools and you learn about them. And it made all the difference in the world for me, and I've used it the rest of my life. I have trouble using it in the car because I don't have a regular source of ice. And cold doesn't work that way on RA. So cold works to trigger the RA, unfortunately. So I have to be careful with that way. But for surgeries, post-ops, it works like wonders.